Palomar Airport's commercial terminal is clean and welcoming, but totally empty. The terminal is part of a $75 million investment San Diego County made in the regional airport 7 years ago. The arrivals and departure boards are empty too. The last commercial flights from Palomar stopped earlier this year. However, step behind the terminal and onto the runway and you'll see a different picture. Jets, like this one from Mexico, are flying in several times an hour. So what's going on? Well, Palomar Airport is booming with business from private jets. Companies can either keep their jets here or they can charter one. 70 jets are based here. 5 major aviation businesses based at Palomar provide hangars, refueling, and maintenance services. Private operator Premier Jet is said to have one of the nicest air terminals in the county. Larger jets are increasingly stretching the limits of the runway. Palomar Airport has seen 6,000 landings and takeoffs in the last year from aircraft that are larger than it's currently designed for. That means the FAA expects it to make upgrades to meet the growing demand for larger jets. So what happened to the commercial flights for the general public? Olivier Brackett, the manager at Palomar Airport, says there is a demand for service.
When SkyWest was flying, we had 50,000 people a year using Palomar Airport, flying commercially.
One reason United pulled its SkyWest commuter flights last year was because the runway was too short for its new aircraft. Lengthening the runway might bring them back. An airport advisory committee appointed by County Supervisor Bill Horn has recommended a new master plan with airport improvements costing $100 million. But that does not include the cost of extending the runway. The plan reconfigures the runway and adds safety features at each end to help stop planes from overshooting.
So, if you look to the north side, those aircraft would be relocated south, and the fuel tank over there and the antennas, they would also be relocated south, and that whole area would be cleared out.
So who would pay? The FAA might cover 90% of safety improvements, but much less to extend the runway. That would cost tens of millions more. And if public money were used, would the improvements benefit private corporate jets more than the general public? Rick Baldridge is Chief Operating Officer of Viasat, a thriving telecommunications company based in Carlsbad. Viasat does not own a corporate jet, and he would like to see the commercial flights come back.
We have facilities all across the country, so connecting in from an airport instead of having to drive down the I-5 for a connection is very convenient for us.
Baldridge says traffic to Lindbergh Field is now so bad that Viasat employees often drive north to John Wayne Airport in Orange County rather than south to San Diego, though it's twice as far.
Just from an infrastructure standpoint, I think North County has been somewhat forgotten.
North County residents are conflicted. Craig Correll says he'd like to fly out of Palomar Airport, but the noise from the existing air traffic over his Carlsbad home is already terrible at times. He worries that property values might be negatively affected as they have been around John Wayne Airport.
My understanding is that you make a complaint, they write it down, it becomes of record, and then nothing happens.
Palomar Airport received 2,000 noise complaints last year, Brackett says, mostly from homes southwest of the runway. But he says though he manages the airport, he has no control over the air traffic.
I am forbidden from restricting the airport to certain types of aircraft using it, or the times of day that aircraft can land or depart.
The FAA says it, quote, does not have a mechanism to prevent an aircraft larger than the design aircraft from using an airport, provided it can land and take off safely. Amanda Rigby, a city councilwoman from the neighboring city of Vista, says her constituents started to complain 3 years ago of larger jets flying into Palomar so low they cast a shadow over their backyards and caused china to rattle in the cupboards. The FAA says its inspectors have not witnessed any planes flying lower than regulations allow around Palomar.
When the FAA says you can't possibly know there's an aircraft, if there is, it's so high above you you'd never see it or hear it. If we're experiencing that much noise and rattling windows and things falling off shelves, those aircraft are over our homes and they are low and they are bigger than the weekend aircraft.
The Vista City Council is considering writing to the FAA to ask for flight paths to be realigned.
There obviously is something going on here and they're just not being honest with us about it, so it really makes us all wonder, what is the end game here?
Residents wonder if the new master plan for Palomar would allow air traffic growth to take off under the radar. Alison St. John, KPBS News.